Second part. Pick and Annette had finally come to realize that this train wasn't merely a means of transportation. It was its own little world. It was simply too big. It was more like a huge hotel than a train, and more like a town than a hotel. In what appeared to be a factory, the boy looked up to find his field of view filled by things that could have been either enormous pistons, or bars repeating bizarre movements that clearly bore no relationship to the laws of physics. But when Pick saw that the motion of one would transfer to another, his eyes went wide. What the hell is this? Some kind of factory?
It's the engine room.
The reply came from his back, and the boy bugged his eyes. Turning his back toward Annette, he asked, "Is there something on me?" "The left hand, it's clinging to you," the girl said, her voice sounding hollow. Although mentally she'd been through the ringer, the actual cause was physical exhaustion. "When did you latch on to me, jerk?"
Don't make a big deal about this,
the hoarse voice replied.
I couldn't have been very heavy.
"What the hell are you? And why are you stuck on D?"
Because someone stuck me there.
"Who?"
Never mind that. The enemy's getting closer.
The boy and girl became stone statues.
I know you think you're pretty far ahead, but there's more than just the Grand Duke and those other two after you. The ones who got on a little while ago probably are, too.
"Got on? You mean during that stop?"
When else?
"But how could they stop this beast?" asked the boy. "Was there an old station left or something?"
Somebody must have had power enough to make it stop.
Pick fell silent. Fear was giggling somewhere around the scruff of his neck. The being who'd halted the train was now on board, and coming after them. He felt like an animal pursued by a pack of 1,000 huntsmen. "Where's D?" "If we keep going this way, will we meet up with him for sure? This train's like a whole damn town."
I've got faith in him.
"Really?"
Yep.
"To hell with you," Pick said.
We'll run into him sooner or later. It's fate. Believe it.
"That's a load of self-serving bullshit." The furious boy reached both arms around to his back, but the left hand deftly evaded them. When Pick was finally out of breath, the hoarse voice said to him,
Let's take a rest here. Missy over there's at a juice too.
"Yeah, let's do that," Pick said, slumping to the floor. Annette was already lying down, the result of a double punch of fear and fatigue. Sweat dripped from her pale forehead. Down on the floor, the left hand snapped its fingers. A schematic of the train appeared in midair.
Our present location is here. That freezer compartment would be about there. Wow. That's like 3/4 of a mile. A hell of a distance.
The left hand put its thumb and little finger together against the floor. Most likely this was a habit it had when it was troubled. To Pick, it looked like the hand was sitting cross-legged, which the boy found amusing. Still, this creature had to be more than just a living hand, judging by the skill it had shown in tripping the Grand Duke and knocking over Gorshin. It must have been the hand that had saved him and Annette from flying through the air with the force of the train's emergency stop. However, a hand normally had power because there was a body to support it, and allow it to perform various feats. The boy couldn't imagine how it could have stopped the two of them when they were thrown into the air. All he could think about was that it could do it because it was Dee's hand. "You all right?" the boy said to Annette. Yeah, she replied, but she was panting for breath. Sorry. I'll put you on my back again. Don't be ridiculous, the girl said, staring at Pick. Her eyes had a light that defied explanation. You've already carried me so far. I'm sorry. I must have been really heavy for you. Don't sweat it. If I couldn't walk around with a girl on my back, I wouldn't be much of a man. In his zeal, he showed her his pearly teeth, but that was as much as he could muster. Pick slowly slumped over and immediately began snoring.
He's shot to pieces, said the hoarse voice. You've got to be pretty beat too. But the kid's 10 times more worn out.
All for me, but why? Why do all this for me?
I don't know for sure, but I guess that's just how humans are. And it ain't just because you're a woman. The squirt isn't the sort to just leave anybody weak in a bad spot. And when it comes to the woman he loves, I think he'd gamble his life and soul in battle, and still die with a smile on his face. No matter how selfish the object of his affection might be.
Annette gazed at the profile of the slumbering boy. She'd looked at him in a way that said if she took her eyes off him, she'd lose him. Cracked lips murmured something, and hot on its heels came a flood of tears. That is correct, said a soft female voice that flowed up from behind them. But even then the girl wasn't surprised. The left hand turned itself around. Beneath rows of silently working pistons, Countess Genevieve was headed toward them in a dazzling dress. On reaching the pair and the disembodied limb, the noblewoman halted and looked down at the boy. Her eyes had the same light as Annette's. As you just said, he has gambled his life and soul, and did so to safeguard your life and soul. 2,000 years ago, the noblewoman said as if she were singing the words, the directors of the Noble Mental Research Center in the capital were forced to make a public certain conclusion as a result of long years of experimentation toward destroying the human psyche. Listen well, little miss. They said, and I quote, though the human mind may be driven mad, it is impossible to destroy, for it is supported by the soul. What saved you is something that glows in the heart of that dirty, uncouth little boy, the soul that we call humanity. No one can see it. The person who possesses it may not even realize it. But even once life has left them, it will continue to make humans glow with humanity forever. At some point Annette had sat up, and now she was staring at the Countess. It resembled in no small part something the noblewoman and the girl knew only from legends of the distant past. A scene of the common people listening raptly to the words of a priest in a place called the church, out in the grassy countryside. Now, come with me, the Countess urged, and as Annette eyed her anxiously, she told the girl, whether it be to leave here or to see the gorgeous hunter, I shall lead you wherever you wish to go. Do you know where he is? The girl asked. I knew where you were.
Okay, let's stick with her.
The left hand sounded almost glib, and that decided it for Annette.
Get up.
The left hand clambered onto the boy's forehead, and Pick soon awakened. One look at the Countess, and he braced for bare-fisted combat. But after Annette explained the situation, he reluctantly came to terms with it. I don't trust no nobles, but in this case we ain't got a choice. Well, anything funny, though, and I'll run you through the heart where you stand. Understood, my fine boy. Shut up, and stop smiling. Once the boy had managed to make it to his feet, the Countess suddenly turned and looked back the way she'd come. Every inch of her gave off tension and a sense of horror.
You feeling that?
The left hand asked her.
Somebody with an incredible aura is headed this way. And you can bet they've noticed us.
Who? Annette asked, her face instantly growing paler.
Dee.
The left hand and the Countess said in unison.
Or so I'd like to tell you. But this is a lot worse.
The hoarse voice continued.
This is someone with about as much power as Dee. But not a noble. Of course, they ain't human either.
Fall back. Flee to the rear. Perhaps sensing something in the Countess's tone, the left hand inquired.
A friend of yours?
Yes. One of the failures from long, long ago. For more than 5 millennia, the Grand Duke and I conducted experiments here, and occasionally it resulted in something like this. Flee, and be quick about it. What's headed this way is the most fearsome sort of living dead in the world, and is of our making.
What the hell is that?
Pick asked, rubbing his eyes. Making a puzzled expression, the Countess said, Do you not remember? Remember what? Ah, the shock must have been so great you've completely forgotten. You have no memory of those who writhed in the train's basement. Thank the Lord for that. If the Lord exists, that is. In a stern tone, she then told the stupefied Pick to go. Page break indicated by a small cross. Second part end.